So for my game, I actually created a game before that replicated the function of Geometry Dash. But given how late our partners were assigned, I decided to optimize their iteration of the code. So what I mean by optimize is they had a lot of bugs featured in the code. Take, for example, when I run their battlesnake one thing that's apparent to me when I play, and I'm just going to play a little bit longer to get my snake length longer, is the enemy AI. You can see that it moves very static in that it tries to find the best path for the I'm gonna let the enemy take more apples as well. So you can see that it collides with my snake. One thing. Another thing is you don't have the ability to restart the game, so I would have to close it and then run the Java application again. So that was also there. And alongside of that, when I run outside of the border, you see that the snake actually has one cell outside before the game actually ends. So let's go ahead and close and see how I address the errors. First off, inside of the old code, you see here that the board cells was made using non-constant variables. This itself is fine, but I changed it such that it has its own independent variable for grid math. This allowed me to easily iterate on it if I needed to. Alongside that, I have a wrap mode, which I thought about after I saw my snake going out. I was like, oh, we can just wrap it around if possible. So I introduced a wrap mode as well as show grid. So toggling our grid on and off, just in case you want it on or off. And I also introduced a new game variable on the bottom here. So you see we have here is paused. That's right. One of the things I wanted to have or introduce was a pause function. So let's go ahead and run my iteration. You can see here that the enemy is a lot more dynamic. Alongside that, if you see here, I'm just going to eat myself. The enemy moves more fluidly, and it also takes into account the best position in terms of X and Y axes. And it no longer does a 180 upon itself. So we also have the ability to pause using the P button. So that's just using the same thing they did for input, where they had a switch case. It's a bunch of if chains. So I did that. And if I somehow lose, so let's go ahead and lose right here. I'm just going to eat myself. We have the ability to restart by pressing R. So on the bottom here, you're going to see that I use their old code because I want to keep it the same, where we introduced a new case, basically a giant if-else statement, where if we press P or R, we are able to pause or restart the game. Alongside that, I saw how they had basically opposite directions for down, up, left, right. So if it's one action, it can't perform the other. So it says here, disallow 180-degree terms. This is their code. So one way I optimized this was I introduced that for the enemy. That is, I didn't want the enemy to do the same thing. So instead of enemy moves, we made it such that it cannot do its here. It's inside of track step. I forgot I moved it. It cannot move inside of the opposite degree. It also takes into account wrap mode. So alongside that, I also didn't like how my game was always sporadic. So you see here, sometimes it starts in weird places all the way in the corner, for example, for the old one. Whereas in the new one, it always starts in the center. So you see how it always starts in the center. I'm just restart again. It always starts in the center. That way it's predictable. That makes it feel a lot more fluid. And alongside that, I changed the enemy AI. So you saw how fluid it moved? Well, I did so by comparing not only where the distance of the thread is, I also compared what axes it preferred, whether or not that is what axis is larger than the other. And yeah, that's what I did for some of the optimization.